If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Hello, Baltimore. This is Evan Vollerthum coming to you live from the Hart Road Studios in Towson, Maryland. I'm going to go right down the docket for you, talk about a few things that I feel I'm really familiar with. First of all, I come back from Los Angeles. First thing I hear about the Ravens, my number one passion as a Baltimore sports fan, is the panic. Terrell Suggs gets injured. Next thing you know, I hear we have the hardest schedule in professional football and we're not going to make the playoffs. I've been outside the state. I've heard what other people say about our franchise. We're very well respected. We're top to bottom. We're very well respected. We have a top 3 owner, Steve Bisciotti. We have a top 3 owner in Ozzie Newsome. We have a top 3 coach in John Harbaugh. We have a top 10 quarterback in Joe Flacco. And the record backs that. The record backs that. Do not get concerned. This year, I have the Ravens going 12-4. Losses at Houston, at Philly, at Pittsburgh, and at Cincinnati. But once again, we're going to defend home field advantage just like we did last year. Joe Flacco gets a lot of criticism. I myself am a Joe Flacco supporter. This past year, Joe Flacco did a lot to support the cause that he is a top 10 quarterback, i.e. going into Pittsburgh, defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field. Also, he led the team down the field in Foxborough at the AFC Championship. Took the team down. They had an opportunity to win it. He did everything he could. Give the guy credit. Next year, I'm way more optimistic that this will be our year. We have great foundation here in Baltimore with our football team. Just be optimistic, be patient, let it play out. It's only July, guys. It's only July. We'll talk about it in September. If they start losing games, then we can get the callers to come in. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Secondly, I'm going to move on to the Orioles. I don't want to talk about them too long. I'm not a big Orioles supporter because of the ownership, who I'm not a fan of. Peter Angelos, I have nothing really positive to say about him. He's pretty much a human boil in society. Just keeps popping up and popping up. Does nothing good. I can't go down to that stadium and pay $8, $8.50 for beers, for tickets, for anything, and know that he's going to make money off of me after the product that he puts on the field. It's just against my belief as a true Baltimorean to give that guy money. That's all he does is take money. So I'm done with that. Down the road. I am very appreciative of the fact that Buck Showalter is our manager, though. That is the one positive point in this franchise that I've noticed has changed. Without Buck Showalter, this team wouldn't be overachieving like they have been all year. They're extremely well coached. The problem is they just don't have enough talent. Inadequate talent in the American League East does not add up to a playoff team. We need to get off of the topic of trying to trade away players so we can make the playoffs and make a run at the pennant, because it's not realistic. This is not the season. We found some bright spots. Let's keep the bright spots in place. Keep the young talent in place. Let's get rid of the ducks. Mark Reynolds, he's a duck. What does he bring to this franchise? Swing and a miss, he struck him out. 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 Catches one, it's gone. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. Killing innings, making errors. Send his tail out of here. I'm done with the guy. That's about all I got to say about Mark Reynolds. Good decision with Mattis. He was obviously struggling. Technically, he didn't look to have it. He didn't have the velocity, and he consistently left the ball up in the zone. I'm not concerned about the playoffs, but I am feeling a little bit more optimistic about where this team's going because of the fact that Buck Showalter's at the helm, and we do have a few bright spots. I want to move on to golf now. Golf is my passion. I know a lot about that. We can talk about that for a while. Hopefully there's some golf fans out there listening. Tiger Woods last year, once again, gets a win on the course he's familiar with, Congressional Country Club. Just like Memorial, just like Bay Hill. The guy has a knack for winning golf tournaments at courses he's familiar with and he's been successful at in the past. The same goes for when he's at Torrey Pines. Look for him to also be a contender at the Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone Country Club the week before PGA Championship in August. British Open is coming up in a couple weeks. My favorite to win this golf tournament, Lee Westwood. I look back about a decade ago, David Duval won in the Royal Lytham in St. Anne's, which is the host of the British Open this year, and he had never won his major. He was considered the best golfer in the world who had never won a major before and got it done there. I look for something along the lines of that with Lee Westwood getting his first major this year. Of course it's going to be stacked. Tiger Woods will be in contention, but I don't trust him on the weekends, especially with airmail Joey LaCava on the bag. Within the past 6 months, I've been following Tiger Woods, and I've seen him airmail more greens than he ever did in 12 years with Stevie Williams. He seems to be confused about where the wind is out there at sometimes. He's throwing the grass up and can't figure out where it's coming from, but if Stevie Williams used to get in there and tell him where it's coming from, he believed him. He got in there and trusted it. I wrote about a blog on WNST.net. You go to blogs, then Barstool Writers. Go down to my name, Evan Vollerthum, and I started a series today called Tales from the Trails. I've been a lot of places, and I've met a lot of people throughout the years on tour. This past week, a good friend of mine, Roosevelt Richardson III, got his first victory as a caddy, and he's been caddying for 14 years, and we had many struggles around the road. I'd like you to read that story. It's very interesting, and if you like it, give me some comments on it. If you don't like it, give me some comments on it, and I'll have follow-up chapters after that. This week coming up on the PGA Tour, they're going to be at the Greenbrier Resort in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, at the old TPC White. It's a stacked field. Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Webb Simpson, Keegan Bradley, Steve Stricker, Dustin Johnson, KJ Choi, Jim Furyk, Billy Haas, all in the field. I would say that my dark horse for this week would be Jonathan Bird. I like him in those courses in the Piedmont region and the Appalachian Valley region. He's a Greenville guy. Seems to feel comfortable down there, and I look for Tiger Woods to come back strong again. He's not coming in there for a haircut, so expect him to be strong. Another topic I want to talk about is horse racing. I was extremely disappointed in how the Belmont Stakes went down. I was very excited about the chance of I'll have another winning in the Triple Crown. Although the news of him coming down with an injury the day before could be believable to some, I find it hard to believe that that's how it went down. His trainer, Doug O'Neill, does have a little bit of history with doping conspiracies and his horses, and I find it ironic that the day before the favorite for the Belmont Stakes is going for the Triple Crown, he comes down with an injury, has to be scratched from the race, and then retired from racing altogether. Something just doesn't add up right there. In my opinion, this is my theory. A drug test was failed somewhere along the lines, and a deal was cut between the owners of the horse and the racing organization in New York to not make it public. Therefore, they could keep the horse's breeding rights at full value, and in return they would agree for the horse not to run in the Belmont. It's just along the lines of Manny Pacquiao and Bradley. It was just too coincidental. The whole weekend between I'll Have Another being scratched and Manny Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley, the way that fight went down, I just took a look at sports after that weekend and I scratched my head. Couldn't quite figure it out. Pimlico Racecourse, that's a passion of mine down in Baltimore. I went down for Preakness and I was not impressed. It's gotten run down, and I'm embarrassed about how the state government has turned their backs on the Maryland horse racing industry. Hopefully something will happen with state legislature passing a gambling bill where we can get some table games in there and possibly build another racetrack and casino/event center, and we can get some good commerce coming into Baltimore. That's 5 to 10 years down the road, but that's a goal of mine that I'd like to see happen. Anyway, that's it for me, Evan Vollerthum, coming to you live from WNST Studios in Towson, Maryland. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.